And today the movie is Sweet Jesus Preacher Man. I gotta tell y'all, I this movie came out in 1973, and the overview is there's this hitman who goes undercover as a preacher to find out for his this mob boss or this gangster he was hired by to find out who's muscling in on his territory. But I gotta tell you, I've been afraid to watch this movie for years. I've always saw the poster. I've had it on DVD, and I've been afraid to watch it for years. And you're probably thinking, why would you be afraid to watch it? And it's because this is one of those situations where the poster is so freaking awesome that I was concerned that the movie would not live up to it. In fact, this poster is so hype, so dope that in 2023, rappers Danny Brown and JPEG Mafia kind of did a imitation or rip off of the movie poster for their album Scaring Hoes. But so all the years that I've had it, I've always been like, man, I don't know if the movie will live up to the poster. And it kind of didn't, and I'll tell you why shortly. But let's talk about who was in the movie. So, we have my man Roger Mosley, most famously from Magnum PI, playing Magnum PI's homie, TC, I think it was. But he's got a ton of Blaxploitation credits. He was in The Mac. You may remember him as Goldie's brother Olinga in The Mac. He was a Hitman with Bernie Casey. He was in Darktown Strutters, Big Time, Drum, Lead Belly. So those are some of his credits. You have William Smith as Frank Martelli. He's the boss who hires Roger Mosley, and he typically always play some kind of villain in Blaxploitation movies. He was in Blackjack. He was in Boss Nigger with Fred Williamson. He was in Black Samson with Rodney Tarkenton, and in Hammer also with Fred Williamson. The you have Blaxploitation players in here. So, let's look at what we got here. So this guy right here, Damu King, he plays a character called Sweet Stick, and I'll show you a scene with him. But Damu King's credits are he was in Blackjack, which also had William Smith in it. He was in Black Starlet. He was in The Black Godfather, Black Samson, Black Girl, Top Heat, and Shaft. Never really had a lead per se, but I think his biggest role might have been in The Black Godfather, but he did have a lot of credits. You have this guy right here. This is Tom Jonigan. He plays a character named Eddie Stoner in this movie, but the only other Blaxploitation credit he did was a movie called The Bad Bunch, also known as Nigger Lover. And I got to track that one down. Hopefully, watch that one day. You got this lady over here. Her name's Della Thomas. She plays a waitress named Foxy, and she was in Darktown Strutters and Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. And then you got my main man right here, Sam Laws. Love Sam Laws. And you may remember Sam Laws. Well, in Sweet Jesus Preacher Man, he plays a Deacon Green. But you may remember him from such Blaxploitation classics as Truck Turner. He was Truck Turner's man, Nate, who got beat up, and who's, Truck Turner was avenging him throughout the movie. He was a hitman. I showed you a few episodes ago. I showed you a few humorous scenes that he had with Bernie Casey and Hitman. So Sam Laws, love this dude. He was also in Bingo Long Traveling All Stars with Richard Pryor, Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde, Darktown Strutters, and Cool Breeze. So you can see how a lot of these characters overlap because, Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde, which Della Thomas was also in, and then Darktown Strutters, which who was also Roger Mosley. So yeah, a lot of overlap, but love Sam Laws, man. That's my guy. But probably the most famous person in this movie who isn't even really big in the Blaxploitation genre, and that is Marla Gibbs, who you may remember from the Jeffersons as the maid Florence, or lead role on the 80s sitcom 80s into the 90s, I think it was 227. So love Marla Gibbs. She plays a character named Beverly Solomon in this particular one. So what's Sweet Jesus Preacher Man about? Like I said, Roger Mosley is a hitman. In fact, the movie actually starts off with him killing a couple of people in various ways. But he's a hitman who's hired by Frank Martelli. That's William Smith, true gangster name, Frank Martelli, to find out who's muscling in on his territory. And so when I say that, I was afraid that the movie wouldn't live up to the poster, and it kind of didn't. Not that it's a bad movie; it's a fun, if you like Blaxploitation, again, you'll love this one. It's a wonderful watch, but the movie's rather disjointed. It's kind of like some things that happen, kind of like should that have been a scene later? So I don't know if when they shot it and they edited it did things didn't go well, but it just kind of seems a little bit disjointed. But just to give a little bit of overview, a man again, Roger Mosley, goes undercover as a hitman. His name is what's his name? His name is Holmes, I think it is. Yeah, Cyrus Holmes is his name, but he goes undercover as this preacher named Reverend Jason Lee. And so, and this is what I mean by it's disjointed because he goes into the area to find out who's muscling on Martelli's territory. He goes in doing good work in the beginning, cleaning up the area of drugs and pimping. But then he kind of seems like he takes over the rackets that are going on. So, he forces the pimps and the pushers into giving money to the church. But it just seems like, then he starts to doing those things himself. So um, then what happens? Oh, Martelli's main man, Sweet Stick, so played by Damu King, the guy Sweet Stick, he winds up getting ripped off and eventually killed. And he's killed by the guy I showed you, Tom Jarnigan, who's plays character Eddie Stoner. And basically what happened is Eddie's brother, dude named Eli, um, gets killed by Martelli's hoods in revenge for Sweet Stick. Now, I think what then happens is Eddie, Jarnigan, he starts working with Roger Mosley, the Reverend Jason Lee, to go against Martelli. And so through all of this, there's this other character, other guy involved named this dude, politician, Senator Steels. He's running to get reelected. So he is kind of doing his walk through the ghetto, trying to, shake hands, kiss babies type of deal. And there's some uproar that happens in the neighborhood. Some cops kill a couple of youth. So you got all these tropes of things that were happening in the 70s, true, but it's kind of like they tried to sprinkle them all in, make sure to check the boxes in order to happen. So with all of that being said, again, the movie I like it because again, it's aesthetics, love the Blaxploitation, the scene I'll show you in a minute, kind of just it looks like in that one scene they tried to check all the boxes. But overall, at the end of the movie, what happens is the Reverend Lee, Cyrus Holmes, he tells Martelli that I'm taking over. So it's kind of like he goes undercover as a preacher to find out who's muscling in on the gangster's territory. He then starts doing good, which you think, okay, well, this is what he's going to do. But then he turns around and takes over the rackets and tells the gangster, I'm taking over, you're out. So it's just kind of a little bit of a showdown at the end where they try to take him out, but he gets away clean. So would I tell you to watch it? Absolutely. Especially for if you're a true Blaxploitation fan, definitely watch it, but don't expect high hopes for it. But all those years that I hesitated and paused to watch it, I'm glad I finally did. I mean, it wasn't so much worse than that. It wasn't such a big letdown that I was expecting. But again, this poster, it definitely does not live up to this poster.